All right, here we go.
Here we go.
3, 2. Welcome back, Geico OUTKICK Studios. Thursday morning, we have got a fun guest for you who's already attempting to mimic me.
Working at it. Blending in other people. I'm trying to figure out where it comes from.
Frank Caliendo, who is the voice of really sports and everything else in the world.
Yes, that's way to narrow it down.
Yeah, I think so. I was like, I don't know exactly, but when did you get what you would consider to be your big break, where people for the first time recognized you?
I had a bunch of little breaks.
Yeah,
it's
a long process,
right? People think that's. Do you ever hear that? You know Norm Macdonald, right?
Oh yeah,
Norm
of course.
Macdonald. You know,
Yeah.
He had a bit years ago about Star Search.
Yeah.
Like Star Search, Ed McMahon says these guys have been working for the last 10 years to finally get here to Star Search. Please welcome this band, Overnight Success.
Yeah.
Just the most brilliant labeling system. So for me, it was actually, I was doing the college circuit and stuff like that. A manager found me and brought me into LA. I got a development deal and some offers and stuff like that. Then I got a show called Hype on the WB, which was more like Tripe on the WB.
Yeah.
And then I got on the NFL on Fox. I was actually at Mad TV for a little bit.
Yes.
While I was there, I got on the NFL on Fox, took over for Jimmy Kimmel. People forget that that's what Kimmel did.
Right.
Because some people just continue to do the same stuff like me, and some people get late-night talk shows. But it's one of those types of things where I just got into, for me it was more, that was the big thing, so the NFL on Fox. But for me it was more like, I'm pretty lazy, I think is what it was. I was like, hey, here's my niche, here's what I'm doing, I'm happy with this, I have a family, and I kind of worked at that and didn't do what a lot of people do. And I'm sorry to work this into the comedy portion.
Yes.
But it's actually kind of watching all this stuff about Kobe Bryant. You see how hard he worked.
Yes.
And how every moment and everything he put into everything. And I think I'm the opposite of that. And it's just, that's when you admire people in those moments.
Right.
And take a look at that and say, holy cow, that's what greatness is. And he's not the only one, obviously. And you look at these professional athletes, and maybe even you, I don't know you that well. I've seen you on TV. I've heard your show and stuff like that. But you look and go, man, I was a grinder for the longest time. Just doing as much radio and TV as I could. And then I went, okay, I'm happy at this point. And then you try to get back in and dive back in, and it's hard. Because it's, the landscape's changed.
Yes.
Social media is totally different. So now I find myself, for a while, I was like, I'm not going to do a bunch of these sports impressions, see if I can venture out and do something a little bit different.
Right.
I find nobody cares. So I got to work that stuff in. So now I'm on, Twitter and Instagram going, I'll tell you what, man, it's going to be tremendous. But now people are copying me doing that stuff. So everybody's doing me doing impressions like, you're such a hack. I'm like, that's my stuff. I'm the creator of that.
What's the worst gig you ever had as you were working your way up? Do you remember, I feel like every comedian along the way, you show up and do you remember one where you're like, what in the world am I doing with my life?
There are.
There's probably several.
Yeah, there are a few of those. One of them was a college when I probably 2 years in.
Yeah.
I was standing on the – they had some type – it was lunchtime.
Yes.
And they had some sort of stage set up.
Yeah.
And they were calling out people's lunches as they were being done. Your soup is ready. Ding! And I'm like – and they got rid of a TV, and they were going to show, Sports Center and stuff like that, and they took that off, and everybody starts booing me, and people are like, hey, why don't you do some humor about gas? I'm like, I do a John Madden impression. Here's a guy who knows nobody cares about me. So it's just brutal. Just that. But there have been others. There have been some where they put the audience 10 yards away or 30 yards away from you, and they can't even see you, and you're just going, why are you spending all this money to have me here? And then you're worried about the dance floor.
Right.
Okay, whatever.
What was the first impression you did where you felt like you nailed it?
Probably Jay Leno looking into the mirror, not my chin, like, hey, would you like some nacho cheese flavored Dorito? Crunch on you want? You want to make more? Beep, 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 beep. Then it turned into Beaker from the Muppets.
Yes.
But it was the Madden thing that took off. And then there was an old story where on NFL and Fox when Kimmel was there, that he and his producer Jimmy Brusca were fighting over a guy who did a John Madden because they wanted to do John Madden for president.
Yes.
And they each had a guy who did John Madden. Turns out I was both the guys. So they were fighting. What's your guy's name? What's your guy's name? Okay, it's Caliendo.
That would have been tough if you'd lost out to the other guy who did John
think
Madden.
about that. I never
you had the right thing, and then
the funny is that's the way you think. That's interesting. I love listening to the way people's minds go on stuff, and yours went to that, which is an interesting take on that, which I'd never even thought of. If I'd have lost that to myself, and never told me.
So what about before you're a public figure in some way? When you were a kid, were you good at mimicking other people?
Yeah, I did a lot of that. I think a lot of people
before
are.
your voice changed, like you could do that. Like
yeah, I look for the physical stuff. I think there are plenty of people who are better with the vocal stuff.
Yes.
There are people who nail things more. It's about finding the take. For example, I've been working on this Tony Romo, and some people hear it and some people don't when I do it. So what I did was I merged it into him actually talking, and people are like that. The same people were like, that sucks. We're like, oh, my God, you sound or this guy sounds exactly like him.
Yeah.
Or they didn't even know it was Romo. But the take on him was, one is going to be the predicting. That's the, you know, he gets a pizza.
Right.
You know, and he's like, oh, Jim, this is going to be big. I can't. This is incredible, Jim, but this is the wrong pizza. How can you tell? He's like, I don't do a good Jim Nance yet, but how can you tell? He's like, oh, Jim, take a look at the stains. If you take a look at the stains on the outside of the box, that's definitely pepperoni. It's not going to be sausage. We ordered, Jim, this is, just open it up. Hello, friends. Pepperoni. So, but that was one of those things. And people think I'm like a wizard when I'm really more of a magician.
Yes.
It's about working at this thing. I keep working on the Patrick Mahomes, and it's tough because people think he sounds like Kermit the Frog, but to me it's more like a Frank Oz, Fozzie Bear kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he's somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And I thought it could have been somewhere in there. But the problem is it turns into a cross between Kermit the Frog, Frank Oz kind of character,
Yes.
and Charles Barkley, which is terrible, and you don't really want that. So it's like I have to get the muscle memory of the character, and then I can go in and out of it. So before that, if you want to relate it to sports, think of it as like your swing. A hitter,
yes.
You're going through the zone. You want to go through the zone pretty much the same way every time. You want to get that power V, a turn top hand, and nowadays the knuckles are all mashed up, and you just smash over it and swing up, right? But that's the whole thing is you just get that, and then you can just do it over and over. It's repetition. That's the same thing with your voice, I believe. And I'll work on a voice so much that it'll break down, and I'll kind of lose my voice.
Yeah.
And then what'll happen is it'll come back, and it's almost like a muscle. You break it down and build it back up.
What's the toughest, like somebody that you worked on and you just felt like, I cannot get this guy? We're talking, by the way, with Frank Caliendo.
I still think for the longest time, Berman kept Chris Berman had turned into Al Pacino. It'd be trying to do rumbling, bumbling, but it'd be rumbling, bumbling, stumbling. He could go all. But it's really my Chris Berman's just turned into Morse code.
How tired do you get? Like when compared to a traditional comedian who goes up, like. Do you feel like you need to rest your voice?
Not really, because I go in and
out.
I go in and out of talking, or doing the impression. So I try to set things up instead of being like a guy doing just skits on stage, like the old vaudevillian style.
Yes.
I try and get in and out. It's a setup and a punchline. Or set up and then do the voice like this I did with the Tony Romo. What's the take? Go for the take and then come back. Like Barkley. The example, Barkley went out years ago and said, I am not a role model. Then he went out and constantly proved it. So you knew where he was coming from.
Yeah, right.
And then when the Draymond Green thing happens, he's like, I want to punch Draymond Green in the face. He says that on national television. People are like, you got to apologize. And he doesn't want to apologize, but he does. And then his apology is, I apologize for recognizing that Draymond Green has a punchable face. That's not an apology, but it's something he can live with, and it sounds like it.
Yes.
So everybody's like, oh, even Charles
guy.
is apologizing. But it's brilliant because he stayed true to himself, and that's my whole take.
Is there anybody who's angry about your impressions?
There have been a few. People don't like to, maybe I'll tell you off air.
What about guys who, just absolutely love it?
Most people, because it brings them up to another level. When you do an impression of them, they get more ads. And,
right. It's a form of recognition.
Yeah, people
it's like
start
being spoofed on Saturday Night Live in some way.
Totally, same type of thing. Because they'll do it, and then all of a sudden Madison Avenue can write for you because they know what the take is.
Right.
So, you watch Gruden, and he's looking at a tire nowadays. I get texts from him, or not now, but previously, where he'd say, I just got done doing a commercial where I do an impersonation of you. I'm scared to death because it's 3 a.m. when he's texting me, which is lunchtime for him.
Yeah.
But my guess is they're like, do it more like Caliendo. And he's like, hey, come on, man. You're a good tire, man. Come on.
So have guys changed, their voices? So, Gruden obviously is on Monday Night Football, and he's out there talking all the time, and then he gets to do Hard Knocks, which, kind of brings him back around into the circle. Have you noticed ever anybody's voice change? Like you had to evolve
that happens
the way
some.
you give?
Yeah, that definitely happens some. But people only remember the way the voice was.
Yeah.
So, they remember a look. You think about Andy Reid, you don't think of him with a gray mustache.
Yeah.
You think of him with a reddish mustache, right? You don't think of him pretty bald. You think of him with a little bit of hair.
Yeah.
So people remember, and there he is, Andy Reid right there. So the time is yours. So that's Yeah, because you look at that, and people don't remember. Most of the time, you're doing an impression of what people think that person sounds like.
Yeah, Frank Caliendo, he's been absolutely fantastic. On your way out, give us a quick spiel. People love it, I know. Whoever you think you can do us a 30, 45 seconds here.
I'll tell you what. Let's just start with Charles Barkley. Go to a little John Madden to turn it into Jon Gruden. We struggled to get that one there. I finished it up with Morgan Freeman. No, we're still going. I'm just getting warmed up. I tell you what, he's just going from voice to voice. He does not necessarily have any material for this at that point. Oh, see, that's what a knucklehead does. I will not apologize for him. Incredible, phenomenal, arugula, out.
Hey, can I plug
whatever you want to plug?
At Frank Caliendo on Twitter and Instagram. If you can't spell Caliendo, it's the letter C, the word alien, and the word do. At Frank C Alien Do, and also podcast.
Yes,
the Frank Caliendo cast, which was odd that I struggled remembering what the name of it was.
Yes,
but you can go to caliendocast.com for that as well.
This has been absolutely fantastic, my man. I appreciate you starting Thursday morning with us bright and early here. Fantastic as always. Go follow him on Twitter. Tag him. Thank you for coming on with us. Clay Travis here. Hope all of you are enjoying Fox Sports Radio on YouTube. Encourage you to like and subscribe to all of our videos to make sure you don't miss any of the excellence. Thanks and enjoy.